Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I am here with three amazing folks, Ronak, Noopur, and Hriday, who goes to Duke University uh, doing their Masters in Engineering Management. Duke being one of the top schools for MEM, this conversation was something which I was really waiting and hoping for. So let's get started. Ronak, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. Hi, guys. My name is Ronak, and I am originally from Mumbai, India, and I have done my undergrad from NMIMS University back in Mumbai. I did a 5-year integrated course, which was like engineering into electronics and telecommunication, and it also included my MBA. So after 5 years, I also had a couple of internships experience, and I come to Duke for the Master of Engineering Management program as a fresher. And yeah, here I am today with Parth.
That's awesome. Noopur.
Hi everyone, I'm Noopur. I'm from Pune in India, and I did my undergrad in Manipal Institute of Technology, and I did my undergrad in Bachelor's of Technology in Information Technology. After that, I worked as a software engineer for about a year and a half at a company called SAP. And then I wanted to switch to product management, so I worked in a small startup as a product manager for around 10 months. And then I came to Duke to do my master's in engineering management.
Hello, everyone. My name's Hriday. I did my bachelor's in industrial engineering from Purdue. I'm from Mumbai. I spent a lot of time there, but I've been in the US since 2016. Worked for a year after my bachelor's, and after working for a year, decided I wanted to do MEM, decided to come to Duke. And this is my second year, so I'll be graduating at the end of this semester. And yeah, looking forward to the rest of our chat here.
Boiler up, man. I gotta hear that story. I did not know that you had a bachelor's degree from Purdue. Uh, what made you do a bachelor's degree from a US university? First question.
Yeah, sure. Let's jump right into it. Funnily enough, that is one of the most asked questions that I get
Yeah.
even when I was doing my undergrad. It's something I wanted to do. Mainly, I have cousins who have done like engineering in different programs in different parts of the country, and it's just one of those things where a lot of the work did not have a lot of application involved in it. And I know from like other people that I knew, where a lot of the classes integrated a lot of application based work with the things that are going on like right now in the industry. It was one of the things that really attracted me to pursue this.
Okay, that's awesome. How was your experience as a bachelor student here and then coming for your master's? What difference do you see having some experience in the US? You have worked for 1 year as well, and then coming for your master's. Among your peers, among when you go for like hiring processes and everything, how different you feel that you're being treated as compared to students who are coming from India?
Um, I don't I don't know if there's that much of a difference in terms of like career, because end of the day I'm still an international student, so I fall under the same regulations, same systems.
Right.
But I think in terms of like acclimatizing, it's easier and difficult at times. Because when I came in fall 21, I remember almost everybody in my batch knew everybody else in the batch.
Oh,
And I walked in, I was like, okay, I don't know anybody. Let's start now. And then I started getting to know people. So it's funny, you have to like reacclimatize yourself into something completely new.
right.
But it was really fun because I got to meet a lot of wonderful people. But I think in terms of like experience, there was a lot of experience from my undergrad of what to expect in universities, what to expect in a professional program. And I think that's something that was very valuable.
That's
going
awesome.
forward.
All right, moving on to Ronak. Ronak, what made you choose Duke? And we can go around on the table. What admits did you have? Um, and what made you end up in Durham and Duke?
So I actually did not just apply for the MEM program, but I also applied for the MS Business Analytics program. And so that is how I got in touch with Kratika. Like she's also from an MIMS, and then she also did her MSBA. And yeah, I applied to a couple of universities for MSBA. I got admits from UC San Diego, University of Rochester and Northeastern for the MSBA program. And when it came to MEM, I got admits from Duke, Johns Hopkins, again from Northeastern. Yeah, these were the universities that I got admit. And out of I was confused between UC San Diego or Duke, but then MEM was kind of more of managerial and things that I wanted to go into. So rather than switching to more of technical background, I thought it's the time for me to go into management kind of curriculum, because I already had my MBA and it was then difficult for me again to go back into technical background. So I preferred to be in the MEM, and Duke was definitely one of the best for the MEM. So yeah, I definitely chose Duke, and here I am at Durham. And Durham is really good. The weather is really awesome. It doesn't snow over here, and yeah, it has
Interesting.
been great so far.
There's a bunch of universities in that area, right? Like the Raleigh, Durham, like North Carolina area.
Yeah.
There's Duke, UNCC, that's University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, right? And then NCSU, North Carolina State University. I heard that all these universities are in close proximity to each other.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's around 20 to 25 minutes. You can cover all the three universities. So
oh,
Yeah,
so
there's also Wake Forest,
there's a what?
and there's another university called Wake Forest, which is about 45 minutes. There's
Okay.
another one.
I have not heard of that one, but if I plan to do tours, like I did some university tours in Texas, so I covered like 4 universities. This might be easier because Texas was so big that going from College Station to Dallas to Austin took me like 3 days to travel all these. Uh, Interesting. Nopur, what made you choose Duke, and what other admits did you have?
Yeah, so for me, I'm actually the exact opposite of Ronak. I come from very software product background, and I was very sure that any master's degrees I do and any product manager role that I want it to be a very technical product manager role because
Yeah.
I'm still interested in the tech industry. So when I was choosing a degree, I was very sure that I wanted a degree that helped me leverage my technical skill as well as get me some managerial business acumen skills. So I applied to only 4 universities, and all of them were three of them were MIS programs, and one of them was MEM program. So I got admits for University of Washington MSIS program and UIUC MSIS program, as well as Northeastern MSIS program. And the only MEM program I applied to was Duke because it had the most software oriented curriculum, like tech industry oriented curriculum. So I applied to Duke as well. So yeah, and then I chose Duke because I realized that I could learn coding more on my own that the MSIS programs offer, but Duke still had more managerial subjects that should help me in my product manager role.
So that's really good because like you kind of laid it out in a way that I recommend everybody to lay it out. Like, hey, look at the curriculum, look at the courses, and look what works
mm,
best for you. A lot of students make this mistake that they are not focusing on the curriculum and they are going on the basis of what other seniors are saying or going on the basis of ranking, which doesn't even pertain to us because rankings are based on undergrad population as well, rankings based on publications, which might be not relevant in your course. So
Yeah.
that way of thinking and that way of like going through the applications is really interesting. Uh, Hriday, we come to you, and I'll come back to you, Nupur, on this. Hriday, we come to you. You choose Purdue's program, and then what made you choose Duke? You had the options to go everywhere. Tell us about that.
That is the second most asked question after that.
Okay.
It's mainly because when I was it was well when I was graduating, it was the height of the pandemic, 2020. I could have continued not my undergrad, but continued at Purdue with MEM along with my undergrad, but I decided I wanted some work experience before I wanted to do a master's program. Um, so I know at that point I had had discussions with the Purdue MEM program where I could join in right away, but I decided not to do that. So I chose to wait. And while I waited, I was looking at all the different applications. I looked at Columbia. Um, so that was one of the schools I applied: Columbia, Purdue, Duke, and Dartmouth. I think I got Duke, Purdue, and I got deferred by Columbia. I was waiting on that one for a while.
Even
But
on 2020, I thought
what?
everybody's like, even in 2020, I thought everybody was like all universities are trying to get admits or get students in 2020 because of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it was in 2021. That's why
Mm,
maybe they had a little bit more option because I waited. I worked for a year
right.
to give myself that room. So I think in that time, um, why Duke over Purdue? Mainly because one, I think especially being in the US, it's nice to have a change of location.
100%.
I think you know how Purdue is and how much of a college town it is. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful place. Like everything you need to do is at Purdue.
Yeah, basically. It's well, Duke's in Durham, so you guys have access to a lot of fun stuff around, right?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, 4 universities around. So in about an hour's access, you have that instead.
Yeah.
Like,
So
so
Ronak and Noopur, and for the audience who's like watching, so Purdue is like the perfect example of a college town. Uh, Texas A&M is also exactly same. Like when I went to Texas A&M in January, I got the Purdue vibe. Because college town, everything you need is associated with college. Even Walmart has everything college related. So it's just like the whole town is just because if the university wouldn't exist, the town wouldn't exist. It's as simple as that. Like there's no, I think Purdue, of course, hires the most amount of people in West Lafayette, as simple as that. And the other
mhm.
jobs are also related to university. So that's awesome, man. And if you hear any other question which which get asked a lot and I didn't ask you, please feel free because the audience is already thinking that.
So I just wanted to finish.
Sure.
So why Duke? The other major reason was because again, what I wanted to do. I think Purdue is a great MEM program with a lot of technical. So, for example, I think what Noopur is explaining, exactly that. I think Purdue excels in it. The amount of like technical program managers coming from there is like awesome. So, I knew the program was very. So the way I see MEM, it's like engineering management. So you have engineering and management. It depends what the ratio of engineering and management you want.
Right.
If you want more management, I chose Duke because of that reason. But I know Purdue, if I was going more technical, I think Purdue would have been a better school for me.
That's awesome. Um, so Nupur, this question's for you. Um, Explain MEM to students. For students, like they see masters in engineering management. If you had to explain it to a student who's a blank slate, right? Like he doesn't or he or she doesn't know what MEM program is, what's the difference between MEM versus business analytics, between MEM and MIS, and all these programs keep popping up on his or her LinkedIn profile. And he's all confused now that, hey, I'm an engineering student, what should I go for? Um, if I'm not an engineering student, can I still do a MEM program? Like you explain as to what differences MEM has from a BA program or from a MIS program.
Yeah, so for me, the way I look at MEM is that you have an engineering foundation and all the business subjects that are taught in the management part of MEM, which is like engineering management. So the engineering skills you come with. And the management part, they tailor that to your strengths as an engineer. So like suppose like subjects like marketing and competitive strategies that are taught in MBA, and in courses like MBA, people don't really all have a technical background in those courses. So they are like very like broad. The technical concepts are explained in a very broad manner. But in MEM, when they know that they have a density of just engineers, they tend to bring the more quantitative side of things, which you are good at as an engineer. So it sort of holds your skills as an engineer and trains you to be a manager in an engineering domain rather than just broadly teaching you marketing concepts. With MIS, I would say that MIS is a more technical degree, as in you have hands-on coding courses and data analytics courses with just a shade of business courses that also if you just want to take. And it's good if you want to get into like technical program manager roles but if you want to get into a more strategy role, then I guess MEM has more business acumen developing option. Yeah. And for business analytics, I'm not really sure. I'm not considered that because I always saw business analytics as a course that you would do to sort of gain better skills in, analyzing data and sort of being a business analyst or a data analyst. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for that. Ronak, were you considering different programs like these while you were coming to the US?
Yeah, sure. So like I considered MSBA as another alternative for my like where I wanted to go into, because like I always wanted to take courses that are more of managerial, but also wanted to go into some parts of tech wherein I can get to know a bit about statistics or say data analytics, visualization, and such courses. So that is when I applied to two different programs. So for at least for I know like MEM program, you need to be an engineer. That is the prerequisite. You cannot apply if you're not an engineer. And apart from that, for MSBA, people from all over the background can come into, like it can be when I was interviewed for USC, and the interviewer who interviewed at USC was like, she did her law, and then like she had around 8 years of experience into law as a lawyer, and then she did her MSBA at USC. So that was a complete switch for her.
That was
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, like MSBA has people from all over the background, but MEM needs to have a prerequisite, like that person needs to be an engineer. But engineering into any domain is fine, like com science, IT, electronics, telecommunication, industrial, mechanical, chemical, civil. We have all sorts of engineers here at Duke, and it is just into like what kind of courses you want to go into. Like each university, while you apply, they have their own kind of specification, like for what that university is known or what courses they are known. Like while I was applying, I was confused why, like, should I apply to Purdue or not? But then when I consulted a couple of seniors, I got to know that Purdue is a bit more towards industrial part, technical, and it is also known for its supply chain operations kind of roles. So that is when I realized like I don't want to be the part of operational or technical industry, and I wanted to be more of product or program manager kind of thing. So Duke is actually known for its product, program, project management courses. And when it comes to, like, say, I give another example, Dartmouth is actually known for its analytical courses as well, like into MEM particularly. So each university has its own specification, and like what you want to get into, it's kind of importance over here. So this is how you can select your university and the program.
Yeah, hopefully everything goes well. I'm interviewing some Cornell folks next weekend to talk about MEM as well. Um, I think that'll be an interesting conversation. One question I had for you guys, like during the application process, right? What was the most difficult part throughout that? Um, was it the SOP, LOR? Was it choosing the universities? Or was it after you got all the admits, it was deciding which university to go for? And maybe we can start with Hriday. Well, Hriday already kind of answered all of that question for us. Maybe Noopur, you can lay it out, like what was most difficult for you?
I think the most difficult thing for me was when I was applying. I applied to MIS programs and MEM program, right? The one MEM program Duke, and they had different formats of SOP. So, for example, for my MIS program, I just had to write like a long essay, probably 1,000 words. But Duke had a different format. First was they just ask you to answer 3 short questions with in each question cannot be more than 250 words. So you have to sort of reframe your SOP and make it very concise yet impactful. And also Duke also has like a video interview, recorded video, so you have to prepare for that too. So that, I think, it was like a difference in the type of skills I was highlighting in my MIS program application as well as my MEM application. And then after that, for me, the most difficult part was choosing between UWash MSIS program and Duke MEM program, because I think they had like the same benefits, but in the end, I think that was the most difficult part, making that decision. But I did choose Duke MEM at the end because of the more product management relevant courses.
Right, right, makes sense. We'll come back to the video interview questions. I think that'll be very interesting to hear from all of you. Hriday, did you go through a video interview as well for you?
So for Duke, I actually had a virtual interview with like the program director at the time.
Okay.
But I did have a video interview with I think it was Columbia that needed one.
Okay, we can talk about it. Ronak, what was the most difficult part for you?
For me, the most difficult part, I would say, definitely SOP was like each university had different kind of formats, so we had to prioritize like what kind of format we want to use, and like we should like as Noopur said, it should be more kind of impactful for every university you apply. So that was one of the biggest challenge. And apart from it, every time you apply, you will have to ping your recommender to submit the recommendation letter. So that is a kind of hassle for them, and it might take some time over there. So considering all of it, that was another big challenge, I would say. And apart from these two, for every university I applied, I had to give the video interview or the in-person like virtual interview. So each university had a different format over there. Like USC, when I particularly applied, they wanted a video interview in a YouTube form. So like I had to upload a YouTube video link. Then there is a second round wherein you talk to person like virtually. So there are two kind of different virtual interviews that I had to give for USC. So each university has different format.
Because a lot of programs, like a lot of technical core courses, don't have these virtual interviews. And I know this is like particular to management courses and management schools. Can you share your experience? What kind of questions they asked you? Specifically for Duke, what kind of questions they asked you? And maybe you merged like some of the questions from USC as well. Uh, Share what experience was like and how did you prepare for it?
Okay, yeah. So when it comes to questions, at Duke, I got asked two questions. First was mention 2 points that are not included in your resume or your application. So something sort of extracurricular kind of thing. And another question that I was asked was, how will you bring diversity here at Duke? So Duke has its 5 principles wherein it's built on, so those they actually have a lot of importance of those 5 principles, and diversity is actually one of the biggest part that they value here at Duke. So I had to prepare my answers. Like I consulted a lot many seniors before I was sitting for the interview, and I got to know how should I answer and how should I prepare. So it is more of a behavioral question that they ask, like why you want particularly Duke, or why engineering management, what kind of courses you want to take, where do you see yourself like 5 years from the industry, and then what are your future goals, something of that sort. So it is more of behavioral rather than going through your resume technical stuff. That was particularly about Duke. And when it comes to USC, for the video interview, it was like I had to prepare a 5-minute video interview wherein I had to include my introduction, what kind of experiences I bring, what are my strong roots that I can share, or like how I plan to give away back to the community that I have learned. So that is one of the interesting questions that I was asked at USC. And after making this particular video, you might get shortlisted for the another round of interview, that is virtual interview with the program director. So that was the part of USC's MSBA program. Yeah, that was all about it.
So did any of your seniors give you like a list of questions that they, hey, this is potentially what they're going to ask?
Yeah, so I actually consulted too many seniors. So like when I came across, I got to know like these were the common questions that all the universities might usually ask upon. And like it basically included why this university, why you want to go in this particular program, what kind of fields you want to go into, that what are your short-term goals, long-term goals, where do you see yourself like 10 years down the line, and do you plan to be a leader in future, like how do you plan to lead your community, how do you plan to give back what you have learned to the community, and what values will you bring to this university, or like how important is the brand name of the university to you. So these were the few of the common questions that it gets.
Awesome. Nupur, or let's talk to Hriday this time. Hriday, what kind of questions did they ask you?
I think it's similar to what Ronak mentioned. I think he covered a lot of them. Specifically, though, I think in my interview, I remember one of the things that I do remember is that we ended up talking at breadth about, there were certain things in my resume that were in the extracurricular or not academic or even career related that the program director was interested in. I think it comes back to the diversity and building a community, because I think the question was regarding like what was my impact being a resident assistant at Purdue, and how that like has impacted me so far, and what do I bring from that. So I remember we discussed a lot about that, and then I think the same questions as like how does like why do you want to do MEM, like what were your past experiences that led you to it. So I think Ronak covered a lot of the questions that I've heard, not just in my interview, but even other interviews.
Noopur, was your experience similar to what Ronak mentioned?
Yeah, everything was like almost the same. I think that the questions that I asked that I guess they didn't really cover yet is that number one, how would your friends describe you? Or
Interesting.
when is the time that you made the biggest impact? Or also, what can you bring to Duke? These are like the three questions. Other than that, it's like almost the same questions as them.
Noopur, what made you choose the US?
I think like I always want to work in the tech industry, and I was working in a company called SAP, which had like its counterpart in the US, and I realized that you
You
have
say
like even though
you say SAP as it's like a very small, not known company. It's a
I
pretty
think many
it's a
people
pretty
just
big
call it
company.
SAP. People call it SAP, so they don't really always know when I say SAP.
Yeah,
But yeah, I used to work. Yeah, it's like a big software company, and so they had like offices in the US. And I always saw that a lot of the decision making and like the work is sort of like decided in the US because the markets are basically in the US. So if you are there, you sort of have more opportunity to grow and like become and get a decision making position. So I always wanted to come to the US to work in the tech industry, but initially I wanted to come for MS in CS. But after working as a software engineer for like a year and a half, I decided I want to move to a product role, which is why then I changed the degree that I wanted to come to the US for.
got it. It makes sense. Even for the company I work right now, they have a big India office, and like they could easily see that everything's been run from here. Also, US is
Yeah.
like a really powerful market for any of the companies, regardless how many people you have in different countries and different offices. US always will have like stronghold, especially in tech, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, all the decisions are coming from here. All the opportunities, internal growth opportunities are here as well. Where in India there might be more. There might be, don't want to say there's less opportunities, but definitely like more politics to get to
Yeah.
those opportunities. Um, Ron, a 5 years degree, you had like you were ready to go, man. You were ready to work. What made you choose the US?
So the interesting part of my storyline is like while I was in my final year, I was actually placed, and like we have placements back in India, right? So I was actually placed by October, and that time I just started applying for the universities in US. So it was a kind of crucial moment, like whether I really want to apply. When I started actually my undergrad, I never thought that I'll be going to US or planning on with my masters, because I always wanted to MBA, and I really thought that giving CAT and all the entrance exams again would be a lot difficult for me. So definitely NMIMS was known for its MBA. So I chose this program wherein I could get the engineering as well as the MBA curriculum. And while I was in my fourth year, I realized that I actually needed some kind of international exposure to gain that industry experience. Like India definitely has a good market, but it was like always kind of unique experience. Like India, like the curriculum is a lot more theoretical based. So I have quite similar courses that I had back in India. Like I have many courses that are overlapping with here at Duke and the things that I had in India. But here it is always a kind of new approach. Like it is kind of industry related, project oriented, and a lot more practical rather than just going on with the books and theoretical concepts. So yeah, it is completely different kind of curriculum. So I chose like MBA should be a kind of lot more exposure type of experience. So that is when I decided to plan to choose another degree that will actually help me gain that international exposure and give me good experience to business management courses. So that is why I decided to plan to apply to US.
What does your day to day look like at Duke right now. Maybe we start with Hriday. A typical day, right? Classes, courses, having fun with friends, share all of that.
So I'm only taking 2 courses this semester, so my workload is much easier than some of my peers right now. I understand they they have a lot more teams, but a lot of the courses are team-based courses, where projects that you'll be working on with teams. So usually, not on a typical day, but on days when you are busy, you'll have a bunch of team meetings. You'll go to your class is like 3 hours, and then I work 2 part-time, so I'm a teaching assistant as well as a supervisor for the intramural department. Intramural is basically like sports that happen within the university. Yeah, I do both of those things. I cook. I like cooking. So whenever I do find time, which I do have more time this semester than previous ones, I cook when I get the chance to do that. So yeah, that's what a typical working day looks like, and then weekends are a little bit more chill.
Nice. That's awesome. Are you guys, well, the intramural stuff, do you play yourself something, or is it really organizing and
Yeah. So actually, I got into intramurals at Purdue, and it's much bigger, I think, there. But here the program's also very good. It's just, I think, there's a lot more participation there. But there's a lot of different sports here, so there's like a good mix. But I do play also. Yeah. So I play
you
and I
play?
also organize, help organize.
What do you play?
I play soccer or football.
Yeah. Well, so football,
Uh,
soccer, so uh,
but yeah, I do that. I play badminton. I play. Uh, there's something called as like kickball, which is like baseball version, but you use it like football.
yeah.
It's another like fun sport. Yeah.
Do you guys play spike ball or paddle? What do you got?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, pickleball. I think those are like they have tournaments, not leagues. The others are like leagues, so you play it for a longer period of time.
Awesome. Noopur, what does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so I guess on a typical working day, I've made sure to not take any classes before 12 p.m. So around noon, I head to campus for class, which is around 3 hours. I don't have more than one class a day. So I head to campus and have a 3 hours of class, and then after that, I usually stay in campus till evening because I either have like meetings. Like Hriday said, most of our coursework, especially all the subjects that I've taken, are very teamwork intensive. So you do have to have a lot of meetings, sometimes even in person. So that's why I usually stay in campus till then, and then I usually do some of my own work, whether it was like like prepping for interviews or like just in general exploring tech. And then after that, I go to the recreation center and have an hour or two of like just either working out or like having fun with people who are there, and then I come back home and then I cook sometimes, and then yeah, that's the whole day.
That's awesome.
And sometimes you still have meetings in the night because like getting together with like a group of people is getting common time is very hard. I haven't taken a part-time this semester, so I have a bit more free time. Yeah.
Were you doing a part-time before?
I was like, for a brief period of time last semester, I was working in the recreation center, which is like basically just making sure that everybody who enters the gym has a membership. But then I decided that I just wanted to learn some more stuff in my free time, so I left the part time.
Makes sense. It's a good experience, even if it's for a brief time. I think it's really important
Yeah,
for us to have that experience, because we're never gonna get a chance again, really, if you're not working
yeah.
part-time in the college, right? Um, so that's good. Ronak, are you working part-time right now?
Yeah, I have two part times. Like I'm a teaching assistant for one of the courses, and I'm also working with athletics facility game operations department. So like it is kind of similar to intramurals, but it is like intramurals is within Duke, and this athletics facility is like kind of Duke versus other universities, like Duke versus Purdue, Duke versus UNC, or Duke versus Notre Dame, like different universities that they played different tournaments. It includes basketball, football, many other sports. Like yeah.
What does your day to day like? Similar classes, cooking, a lot of meetings. Does your program, I'm assuming your program in general requires a lot of like presentations and meetings and everything.
Yeah, so it is like last semester I had 4 courses, and it was really manageable. But looking at the internship hunt and everything, I chose to go with 3 courses this semester, and it is a bit hectic because like all the courses that we have, they have like kind of industry related projects. Like you can consider it like we are working with companies, but it is a non unpaid work basically. So like we have directly client based projects, so we have meetings with clients, we have our internal team meetings, and like meetings are kind of every day that it happens, like because like let's say I have 3 courses and each course has different kind of projects going on. So presentations are like almost every week, so we have to we spend most of our times into the meetings, and definitely we have like 3 hours per course every week. So going on with that routine, and definitely it's like when I came to US, I was not knowing how to cook, but here I am like apart from my degree that I'm earning, I'm definitely going to earn the master chef tag, and that is the new thing that I am here with.
That's good. Um, that's good. So this is funny because like core courses are not really that project based and you won't interact with that many students, but it's all the management courses you have like projects and everything. So it just feels normal to have meetings after meetings, correct? So how you, Ronak, you said you have internship. Nupur, you said internship. Whether you're going through that process right now for a full time, I would love to hear quick, like you know, uh, I'm assuming you guys have career fairs both the semesters, right? Uh, what was your experience like looking for the internship? How difficult was it for a person from Duke? Duke's MEM is pretty high up there. So did you still feel that problem before we go to the internship thing? Like, what's your diversity like in your class? How many students are there? How many Indian and international students are there? Um, could anyone, whoever wants to speak about it, can take
Whether
this
you want to go
question.
with for your batch, I can go with my batch.
Yeah, I think my batch there were close to 200 students, and I think about 150 or so were Indians, and then the other 50, I think, is like we have, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that we had some people from China, and then few students that were from the US, and then very, very few from other parts of the world. Like we'd have few students from like everywhere. So I think that was essentially the breakdown.
Got it.
Yeah, so when it comes to like our batch, like me and Nupur are from the same batch, so we have kind of 230, 240 students. Like batch size is really huge, but each course has a fixed limit of like 30 students per course. So that is a good thing. And when it comes to diversity, I would say 80% or 70% are Asians. 70 to 80% are Asians, and at least like out of 240, you can say 180 to 200 students are Indians. The rest of them come from different parts of the world, which includes like few 5 to 10 are from US itself, then many from China, and couple are from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Europe. So definitely good diversity, but most of the students, particularly in MEM, are Indians.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I assumed as well, and that's what I thought it's gonna be because I talked to ASC students last weekend, and they had a very similar experience as well. That there's like problems in diversity, right? Like some they are being divided into a bunch of cohorts, and their cohorts have been divided so that there's like some diversity in each group, each cohort. But it's still like they're having difficulties with getting that feeling of an international university. I think ASU, UTRAS, like San Jose, these are some universities which are higher on international population as well. Um, so career fair again. How did you land up your internship? How was your experience like? Was it super easy, difficult, um, or it took forever and you're like completely a different person now going through this most difficult experience of your life? We can start with
You want
Ronak.
anyone to go first? Or?
We can start with Ronak. Ronak, why don't you go ahead?
So yeah, we have here at Duke, we have two career fairs. Like one is in fall semester and another one is in spring semester. And fairs are usually like companies that are located nearby. They come and they pitch in. But then what I experienced was like fairs are usually looking for people who are more of US citizens or they don't require the sponsorship. And we are mainly international students, so like few definitely get out some good results out of that career fair, but the number is really low and it is really difficult. But yeah, definitely you can get those connections. You can talk to the recruiters, you can connect with them on LinkedIn and connect to more and more number of people. So that is one of the good thing about career fairs. And I found my internship by like applying online and connecting with one of the recruiters via LinkedIn, and that person helped me get the interview call. And it was kind of really unique experience for me, because back in India we had placements that we like companies directly come to us and we get recruited. But then here what matters is like how good you connect, how good you communicate with the people, and what kind of connections you build with the people around you. So here that is given a lot more priority, and rather than what technical skills or what how highly knowledgeable you are, that actually is kind of second most priority, rather than like first would be definitely communication, like how well do you connect. So that was a new experience for me, and yeah, it was all about it.
My bad. Sorry, I was still muted. No, but this is a question for you. Did you have similar experience? Microsoft is a pretty big company. I'm sure since you were trying to break into tech companies, were you focusing on specifically, now it's like Mang, right? Meta, Amazon, all of those. Were you specifically trying to get into these?
For me, I like I said, I was sure that I wanted to be in a very core tech role. And so yeah, I was targeting big tech, and I didn't have like, if there were any startups that I found working in like interesting spaces, I would target them as well. But I got really lucky, and I had applied to Microsoft and a few of the bigger tech companies that opened their internship application super early, like in September. So I applied like super early, and I got my interview call within like a week of classes starting in Duke, the first week of classes starting. So I
No
did not really
way.
have time to go to any career fair last semester. I was just heads down preparing for the interview. And I got really lucky, and I got a call from Microsoft that early. So I just basically prepared for a month. The whole process lasted a month. So that entire month I was just preparing for the interview. I did not expect to get called so early. So that was like a mind frame change from on my side. But yeah, like I did target big tech companies, and I don't know. I mean, I would have definitely targeted startups and like interesting companies in the tech space as well. But luckily, I didn't get the chance to. I would say yeah. So I think it happened pretty quickly for me that I didn't really like. In hindsight, yeah, I would have definitely applied to startups as well. Yeah.
Did you, quick question. So, did you still apply, like once you got the Microsoft internship, did you still kept trying for other companies?
No, I didn't. I did not actively apply. There were like a few companies that I guess I would have applied to while I was applying for Microsoft, and I did get interview calls from some of them. But yeah, like I did not do the online assessment, or because I was pretty happy with Microsoft, especially because I wanted to work in the B2B tech space, and Microsoft offered me that. And yeah, I was pretty, so I did not apply
That's
to any
pretty
other
awesome. I
company.
don't think anybody thinks like applying that early and you get a call
Yeah, it
interview
was
round. So
honestly I just a stroke of luck that you got a call that early. Yeah.
So like we
um,
were during fall break, we were going to Charlotte. It's a nearby Raleigh, so
yeah,
we are going there, and that is like last week of September, first week of October. And that is when she told us that she already got Microsoft, and we're like, oh, that's really good. Like we are still in the process. We are going on with the interviews and all. Like that was the time when I also got my first interview call. I interviewed with Salesforce, but due to the layoffs and all, they reverted back my offer. And that is when like she told us that, oh, she already has an offer. Like it was really great for all of us to hear about it.
yeah. Nupur, were you the first one in your class to get an offer?
I think yeah, one off. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Awesome.
super early. And like to that point, like what I would like to say to like people who want to apply early, it's like, so people, like a lot of people, they wait for something to happen in their course, right? Like I would maybe say I'll take the subject design thinking or product management, and so that I have that on my CV, and then I'll apply to the bigger companies. But I think you should just if you should just apply as soon as possible. And then, then you can talk about the courses that you're taking in your interview rather than waiting for yourself to finish those courses and then adding it to your resume. Because I think with a bigger company, it's all a numbers game. And at the end of the day, like, just if they happen to look upon your resume in time, then it works for you.
Yeah, and like I hired for my company as well. It's a different field altogether, but like one thing which we keep telling everyone is like the fall career fair is where you get the gems, and the springs, like we don't really hope much from the springs, honestly, spring career fair.
Mhm.
So students who apply quicker, and then fall career fair happens in September, October. Uh, we go there, hire for the next summer, and that's the end of it. That's all we are kind of looking for. Hriday, your experience, you have so while you were at Purdue, did you go through any internships? Did you go through this process over and over?
Yeah, I did. I think I attended a lot of career fairs and I've learned a lot from them. And just want to put that out there because a lot of people think that if you go to a career fair, as Ronak mentioned, like I think there's a different because when you have placements, it's a different thing altogether. Career fairs aren't like placements at all. Career fairs, and this is my personal opinion, but I think so. You should really think of career fairs as a place to just network. Not my experience personally, but like from friends that I know, like one of the best ways that they connected through people is at like a career fair. So the way to go for a career fair is essentially, of course, you should be professional. You need to be dressed for the part always. But the main goal, don't think in like don't go in thinking that you're gonna get an interview call from 50 companies when you go talk to 50 companies. That's not gonna happen. What's gonna happen is you're gonna meet 50 people. You're gonna connect with them on LinkedIn, or sometimes they have emails as well. Use that as your resource and then move on from there. If you expect 50 interviews, you're not going to get, but you might get a few interviews based off of the connections that you're going to make. So I think the main goal for career fairs, go in thinking with that logic, and I feel like you'll feel better. Because I was one of those people that felt very bad after like career fair, because it's a dejecting experience. And I think the entire like application process throughout, like because I know people who like apply for hundreds of applications and they finally get something and they like it, but it's just that time that it takes. It usually is of like people get dejected during that time. I think it's really important to you know redesign the way you're thinking about it, and makes you feel more positive about it. So that way you're liking what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I have emphasized that point, like, hey, career fair is a networking opportunity. Career fair is a networking opportunity so many times. Like the connections you make in person is, of course, like supersedes everything, right? Um, the way you can get connected to somebody and like that person might be useful for you within a year or maybe within 2 years, you just never know. You can only know like when you're looking back and using that connection and leverage that. um, I've mentioned this like hundreds of times, like my current company, 2 years, like I went to every career fair and met this company, and I did not get an offer from them. But when I was applying again, like 2 years later, after the company I went to from my college, when I was applying to this company again, all of those connections came in handy. And that's how I got the offer. So you just never know. Keep, even if it's Microsoft and Netflix or whatever big tech company, then you think that, hey, I'm not qualified enough, just try. Because if you're not going to take, like how Nupur mentioned, right? Like unless you tried, you'll just feel like you're not worthy enough. At least you get a rejection. That's a close of chapter, right? Like, okay, I move on, I apply next year and try again. So that's good. Um, okay, networking, you guys have done enough of it. Uh, give me 3 tips. 3 tips. I'm an international student. I'm new to the US. Give me 3 tips. It could like we can start with Hriday and go around Nupur and Ronak. Like Hriday, what would be your quick 3 tips for students on how to do networking?
The first and I think the most important tip is when you are networking, don't ask for a job right away. You're not going to get a referral or anything right away. Because unless you build that relationship, it's going to be without any substance. Even that referral is not going to mean anything. Even that recommendation is not going to mean anything. So it's important to go into networking, not think. I know it's a difficult task because it's always playing on your mind. But the important thing here is to build that relationship so that when they do recommend or when they do refer, it's a substance. I would say I think that's the most valuable. What are some other tips?
It's okay. We can go to Noopur. We
I
can
think
ask her. Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry, you
Yeah.
were saying something. I don't want to cut you off.
nah, it's fine.
No.
Let's go to Noopur.
Say it now. You gotta say it. Tell us.
I think I lost my train of thought. I had something, and then when you
Oh
went to
shit.
Noopur, I
Sorry.
lost it. So I'm like, it's fine.
Okay. If you remember, please mention it. All right, Noopur. What's your top networking tip?
Yeah, I guess like mine would be kind of similar to what Hriday said. Don't look at networking as an opportunity to get a referral, because at an entry level, referrals sometimes may or may not work. Rather, you should use networking not only to like impress them, but also to get to know about the role they're doing. If you like a certain company and you like a certain role in the company, networking should, from your side, be to get to know about whether your opinion of that company or that role is correct. And
So
while you're forming that opinion, while you have a conversation.
wait. You're trying to tell me that I shouldn't be asking for referrals on LinkedIn messages anymore?
Yeah, no.
No, I
I would
should
say
be
that
texting
that
them
could
right
be a
away.
byproduct. I think that that could be a byproduct of it, but I think the goal should be getting to know the person in that role and getting to know about the role in the company more. And then in that conversation, if you turn out that you do like that role or they start liking you, then you could, slip it in. But I would definitely say that getting to know about the company and the role is more important in networking.
And Ronak?
So far, like I have given around 10 to 12 interviews. Like a few of them definitely included top companies like Salesforce or say eBay. Interview with BCG and all. So like it never happened with connecting with people on LinkedIn or just getting the interview calls. It was like you try to connect with people who are like kind of, I would say, effective connections. Like if you're applying for product manager role, then connect with people who are like vice presidents or directors or university talent recruiters. So they are the people who will actually help you get a better reach. And when I send an LinkedIn request, I just try to connect with them and tell them that I came across this particular role and I'm really interested to learn couple of things on this role. I don't say that I'm looking for a referral. I just say like I'm curious to know more about this role. So that is how they actually get connected, and they like start a conversation saying that you have couple of doubts. Once you build that connection, then slowly you can slip in, like as Noopur said that if it would be a great help if you could help me by passing out my resume to the team or referring me to this particular role. So first you build that connection, bring that kind of say bond between you, and then you can try to pitch in what you actually wanted. So that is how I also started building connections. And apart from this, definitely don't just connect with people who are in the industry, because like I connected with people here at Duke, like they are students here, and like it doesn't matter if they're grad students, undergrads, or from different schools. I connected with many students, and then one of them actually helped me. Like she was interning with McKinsey during the last summers, and she helped me connect with the HR over there. And that is how, like, if you build connections with students as well, that also helps you sometimes. So it's not just the industry people, it might be around your campus as well. So just talk to more people, I would say. Experience, learn, and reflect upon it. So those are the three things I would say are like what matters the most.
That's awesome, man. That's a really good advice. Like in, connecting with a lot more people. Um, and Hriday, you have something to say. You raised hand like you're the whole picture move. What's going on?
So I did remember what I was
Okay.
going to say. And
Yeah.
I think Ronak mentioned some great point, by the way. Like like networking with other students is a brilliant way to go about it. The other thing that I was going to mention is when it comes to networking, people just think about I'm going to network with the top 5 companies in this market and I'm going to stay with it. And I think that's a very bad idea. I think when you're networking, you network with everybody. Don't think about industries. Don't think about, because that person might know somebody in some other role in some other industry that might be able to help you. So network without, like, I think it helps to go about it with some goal in mind, some role in mind. Yes, but I think in terms of, don't think about, oh, this company is the top 5 company, hence I'm going to network with only them. No, go about networking with everybody that you can think of in your industry that you're interested in and you want to work in. So I think that's one thing that people forget, is to network just in general, not because of, like this company is in the top.
Yeah, and you're new here, so it's always a good practice for you to break into the American culture as well by just talking and talking to more people. I know it's difficult for some people, like some people might be introverts. uh, it's difficult to just even have that conversation. You have to prepare for it. uh, but write it down, like what I did was, I was just playing around with chat gpt, like for my YouTube titles and descriptions and everything. And I asked them, like, hey, I'm an Indian international student in the United States studying here. And I want to ask, like, I'm going to go into a networking event. What kind of questions should I ask? Give me like list of 20 questions. You take those 20 questions, and the best way to network, or best way to keep the conversation going, is to just keep asking questions and have that curiosity in your mind. And just remember, what the worst which can happen is that this conversation can end and that person will never talk to you ever again, which they were not doing anyways. So if you guys have any life advice after going through all of this shit and going through more what you're gonna go through, if you have any life advice you can share with students, or your younger self, this would be the time. Anything you'd like to share, not related to jobs, just a regular life advice that, hey, I think this is what you should be thinking about. Or
I think that one thing I like to tell myself is that before coming to the US, or before taking a big step in your life, instead of learning particular skills, make sure that you have honed the ability to pick up skills fast, because your interests may change and the industry may change. So you just need to learn how to learn things faster and learn things more efficiently. I think that'll help you throughout even your masters, or even when you're interviewing for different companies. Yeah.
I would say that you should be more of adaptable, because you never know what kind of situation you might arise in, and you should have that capability to deal with that situation. Because like when I first came to US, it was like a completely new experience for me. I faced a lot of difficulties talking to people, connecting with people, and getting to know more like things. I never knew things that were going on around here. So it sounds difficult, and you definitely miss your family they are in India, and like it is difficult to communicate on daily basis sometimes, but then you need to adapt to the situation, you need to face your challenges, and then that is how you learn. So just I would say be adaptable to the situation.
brother,
I would say
you've been an international student more than anyone else here, so
I think all of these points are the great points, and then I agree, like these do exist, but I think um, when you take that big step, like you take it for a reason. You want to grow, and that's one of the important things. But I think the advice that I would give is figure out what makes you happy. Really think it through. Like spend some time, think about things that make you happy, and it doesn't have to be just career. Like if there's some extracurriculars that make you happy. Like for me, I love Real Madrid, and I love watching them. Like once or twice a week, whenever they play. Okay, I love watching them. It's something that makes me happy, and I find time to be able to do that. So find things that make you happy, and find time to do those things. So I think that is something, irrespective of whatever you do at whatever age in life, whoever is watching this video at whatever age you are, like I think throughout your life, just find things that make you happy and like find time to do those things.
awesome. Uh, well, thank you so much, guys, for taking your time, and talking to me. I think this is going to be super helpful for anybody interested in Duke and interested in MEM program. So thanks for all your insights. I'm going to put everybody's LinkedIn link in the description, and ask for help, but ask good questions. Just don't send them a hi and then expect that they're going to respond back. They're all busy with their coursework and their internship soon and their full time. So be mindful about it. So thank you so much for everyone watching. Hope you stuck around and watched this whole thing. Super useful information. And until then, we'll see you in the next one. Take care. That's Duke sign, yeah.
No, that's the Bull City. Like Durham is like Bull City, so like Bull.